This week's Torah portion is called VaYeshev, which in this context means "and he settled." Israel returns to his hometown and settles near his father's house. His favorite son Yosef is 17 years old. Torah states that Yosef brings a bad report about his older brothers to his father. 2 verses into this week's portion, and tensions are mounting. Last week we discussed some of the dangers of favoritism in the household. While favoritism is a flaw in parenting, is it serious enough of a flaw to justify severance of contact between a parent and a child? If so, it's contact refusal. If not, we can continue to evaluate whether it's a case of parental alienation. This week's Torah portion gives us a lot more details to evaluate whether Israel's flaws as a parent justify severance of contact with his children, or whether he will be a victim of parental alienation. Right away, we see tensions rise to hatred. Yosef, as an immature 17-year-old, lacks diplomatic discretion when sharing prophetic dreams about his future. This provokes his brothers even more, who hate him even more. Instead of diffusing tensions, Israel buys Yosef an expensive new garment and sends him out to report on his brothers again. They see him coming in the distance wearing this new expensive garment, and they snap. They decide to throw him into a well, trying to kill him. Afterwards, they change their minds and sell him into slavery, where eventually he winds up in Egypt and gets sold to Potiphar. The brothers employ a common tactic in parental alienation to sever the parent-child relationship. They manipulate Israel into believing that his son Yosef is dead. Next week's Torah portion, we're also going to see that Yosef also questions whether his father is alive. Since both father and son suspect that the other one is dead, they give up hope on trying to reunite with each other. Not only does this satisfy the first sign of parental alienation, such manipulation into falsely believing that a loved one has died is a common tactic used to extinguish hope in restoring relationship with that person. As we stated previously, the first sign of parental alienation is a campaign of denigration against a previously loved parent. Clearly, Yosef and Israel have a loving bond with each other, and convincing each one that the other one has died is the ultimate in denigration of a previously loved parent. Therefore, I would argue that this may be a case of parental alienation. This week's Torah portion highlights another disastrous breakdown in the parent-child relationship. Yehuda leaves his father and brothers and moves in with the Canaanites. His ancestors Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov have gone out of their way to avoid intermarriage and assimilation among the Canaanites. Yehuda seems to be rebelling against all this with disastrous results. The Almighty kills his Canaanite sons, leaving his daughter-in-law as a childless widow. His household is on the verge of extinction. It seems that Yehuda was reacting to guilt over what he did to his brother Yosef. After all, it was Yehuda's idea to sell his brother into slavery. However, was he also rebelling against favoritism in the household? Is this favoritism reasonable justification to sever contact with his father and his brothers? If so, then it's contact refusal, and our discussion ends here. However, one could argue that the 10 other brothers didn't have such an extreme reaction to their father and to each other. In some ways, Yehuda is in the greatest danger of all the brothers. If he continues down the path of rebellion like Esav, like Ishmael, like Cain, then not only can his own household go extinct, but the whole world can unravel like it did in the time of the flood. If the breakdown in relationship between Yehuda and his father is a case of parental alienation, then this situation highlights how dangerous and contagious parental alienation can be. We can destroy the whole world with parental alienation. Conversely, the world depends on restoring and healing relationships between parents and children. We begin to see a glimmer of this hope in Yehuda's household through his daughter-in-law Tamar. Back in Egypt, Yosef's fate goes from bad to worse after a false allegation lands him in prison. Lashon Hara wreaks havoc everywhere. Next week's Torah portion is called Miketz, and it will address whether there's any hope to heal all of these disasters in Israel's house.